everybody.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome. Greenville, South Carolina welcomes you all from wherever you happen to be in the country. I'm John Goff. I'm going to be walking through a little bit. We're doing something a little bit different.
Shaking it up, as they say.
We're shaking it up. So yeah, it's
alive in 2025.
This is we had a company kickoff. Chris was on fire for that too. So hopefully he'll bring that same energy here today.
I had my Celsius and a couple cups of coffee. Good. And my beet juice this afternoon. So I've got enough energy for all of us.
Nice. So last year, we get a lot of new folks coming to our webinars. We have some people who've been on quite a few before. Last year was really all about thought leadership. We wanted to have high level topics, what we're thinking about, what we think our customers and prospective customers should be thinking about. And so that was really it. And people liked that. And the one thing that I did hear was, hey, why did we never see the system? And that was intentional. It was by design. We didn't want to be real salesy. That wasn't the purpose. But we are at a point here. I think we've covered a lot of ground in the past and just giving people an idea of how we're tackling challenges for them that they're facing and what we're building in the system, what we've built so far, things that we're working on. I thought that would be a really cool thing. So I'm John Goff. I'm Director of Business Development here at TrebleHook. Got Chris Fay, President of the company, along with us today. And just really wanted to kick things off to start talking a little bit about the company itself. There's a lot of CRMs out there in the world. So when you're thinking about it, Chris, going back several years ago, started a company around a CRM. Well, what's the reason? There's hundreds of them out there. So I thought it'd be really good, Chris, just to kind of give the why behind TrebleHook, what led you to start the company in the first place and start there, and then just kind of dive into the system.
No, it's awesome. And hey, thanks everybody for taking some time today. These webinars were a lot of fun last year. The only thing I feel a little vulnerable on is normally every webinar I would throw John Goff a curveball and I would sneak in some weird slide at the very beginning just to try and break the ice. And today we're actually not going to show you a PowerPoint deck because we want to get you in the system. So I'm feeling a little bit, I don't know if vulnerable is the right word, but something's missing. I feel naked by chance. Right. It's like leaving your phone behind. No, but really excited about the year. And also on the year, we've got some plans to show you some additional functionality we're working on, some product enhancements, integration work with some of our partners, some customer stories. And so, it's going to be a cool evolution of our company. And actually last Monday was TrebleHook's 4th birthday. Yeah. So
4 years old. We got a cake and everything.
We got a cake and everything. So I've got a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, 2 boys, and then a 4-year-old company called TrebleHook. So, but no, super. I'll be kind of brief on the story, but I do think it's super important to understand, where we've come from and what we're trying to accomplish here at TrebleHook. And being a 4-year-old company, we're obviously relatively experienced, but we also have a long way to go. We're still a startup. I talked to a friend of mine who's a CEO founder out in Austin, Texas, and has grown and scaled a big company. I was like, man, how long can I call ourselves a startup? And he's like, man, you can call yourself a startup forever. So, but I do think that speaks a bit to our mentality and our mindset. But so I came out of the construction industry. I was a project manager for a large general contractor, and then ended my career there as director of business development. So knew a lot in how projects came together and pre-construction and estimating and project delivery and closeout. Obviously worked with lots of folks in the AEC space and subcontractors and developers and owners. And then, in the business development space, got to get into the sales side of construction. And then in 2011, I joined a company called TPM, and it's actually my father-in-law started the business, funny enough. But TPM was always very heavy in the tech space, really focusing on architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing. And then in 2000, 2020, I guess 2019, 2020, we started going on a self-proclaimed listening tour. And, the listening tour was really talking to a bunch of our customers at TPM, which is kind of call it our sister company, and really trying to figure out, how can we align with them going forward? And, really one of the themes that we continued to hear across our AEC customers is just, leaders and executives and people across the industry they didn't have data insights in their business. Data was all over the place, and project management systems and Outlook and Excel and so on. And they were really having a hard time getting good analytics into their business. And even the systems they have, the data was incomplete. It might not be up to date. And obviously inconsistent, out of date, disconnected data is going to give you zero insight into your business. And so, we dug a little deeper into what sort of insights they were looking for. And, it was really around project performance, but also into where's our company going? So, what's our pipeline looking like? What's our win rate when we attack these certain things? They really wanted to slice and dice the project and use that information to help them grow the company. And so we said, okay, well, that's a bit of core to kind of a CRM, ERP solution. And then we dug a bit deeper and we said, well, what products are in the marketplace today? And we told a little bit of the story last year, but we saw three scenarios in called the CRM pursuit space. Number one is CRM naked. So using Excel, Outlook, whatever, right? And this is super common in the AEC industry. I mean, when I was in business development, I used the Access database, a glorified Excel spreadsheet, and we were $100 million GC. Yeah. So, you have a lot of folks that are just, hey, we're tracking stuff manually in Excel. We've got a decent system. We know we need to do something better. Yeah. The second scenario is that you had people that had purchased, call it industry specific CRM solutions. And I'm not going to name names today, but industry built solutions. And so they had fields and checkboxes for all the things around projects, but nobody was using them. Yeah. There was a lot of, utilization and adoption challenges. And people are like, hey, I bought this thing, but only a few people are using it in the business. I'm not getting insights into it. And then the third situation we saw was, kind of more mainstream CRM solutions. Think about the Salesforce, the Pipedrives, the HubSpots of the world. But utilization and adoption was struggling there as well. And it's because they weren't purpose built for the AEC community. And so we've come across a lot of people that, hey, we use Salesforce. Hey, we use HubSpot. And well, how things going? Well, they're good, but I'm having a hard time getting it rolled out inside of the business. And so, we saw these three scenarios and inside of our business, we had a lot of experience in the Salesforce world. I would tell you that Salesforce had kind of fundamentally changed the way that we run our company. And so the idea was, what if we could take the number one CRM in the world, Salesforce, use the underlying engine, use that underlying tech stack for data security and workflows and integrations. And what if we could purpose build that CRM solution for the AEC space, then go in and implement that as a CRM, but also integrate with all the other solutions that are across the AEC platform, the Delteks and the Procores and the Autodesks of the world, help centralize project data, and then leverage the dashboarding and reporting analytics engine inside of that ecosystem to deliver these insights. And so that's what we did. And so a lot of people are unfamiliar with that model, but Salesforce has a huge model of direct sales, but they also have billions of dollars of business coming from partners like us. And the best way that I typically explain this relationship is that Salesforce sells us the engine. When you think about if you're an F1 fan, if you follow any sort of racing, the Red Bull team does not have a Red Bull engine, right? If you fly in a Boeing aircraft, Boeing is typically leveraging maybe a Rolls-Royce engine. Right. So, think about that and how we talk about TrebleHook today. We have this TrebleHook product. It's our product. It's our UI. We handle all the sales. We handle the implementation. We handle the technical support. The relationship is directly with us. But the engine, the underlying tech stack that we're leveraging, the Rolls-Royce engine for the Boeing team, the Mercedes engine for the F1 team, the Salesforce engine for the TrebleHook team, that is what you see when you lift up the hood. And what that does is it gives us the highest levels of performance in the world. And we also get to take advantage of a lot of their innovation. So the innovation on AI and automation that we're seeing, the data security, the integration work is just something that no other competitor can keep up with. And so, that's what we ended up doing. And so we came to market, in 2021, and it's been a really fun journey ever since. And our team is growing, our business is growing. We're seeing customers really having a fun time with the system, but we have a long way to go. And I think that's really what's most exciting to me. So I know today we wanted to give you a high level. I think the reality is when you think about your journey in CRM, wherever you are, and there's probably people on the call today, you might be a small firm and just tracking information or not. You might be a mid-level firm that maybe has a small implementation of a CRM system, or you could be a huge firm here today that has an enterprise implementation of something different. The reality is we've designed our product to meet you wherever you are in your journey. And so, the great thing about our solution is an amazing amount of horsepower, but that horsepower can be dialed back for the application and the customer. So today we figured, let's show you a quick overview of the system, and we're going to kind of show you the middle road, right? Kind of the middle road, and understand it scales up and understand it scales down. But really it's about meeting you where you're at. And one of the things we talked about last year in our, one of our webinars, I'm not sure which one it is when you're thinking about technology, making an investment in a platform that's going to grow with you, right? And I think that is something we all need to be thinking about in our businesses. When I invest in technology, I want to invest in a tech stack that can meet me where I am today, help me grow to where I want to be tomorrow, but then also give me a foundation that's going to help me continue to scale and grow in the future. So John's going to take us through just kind of an overview. You're probably going to find me interrupt him from time to time just to kind of nail some points.
I tried to shut his mic off, but
we got to unplug it or something. But I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight of who we are and where we've come from, and we can talk a lot more about where we're heading in the future. So with that, John, I'll pass it over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, as we were talking about setting the stage here today, I thought it was really important to have Chris give the why behind TrebleHook. It really tells you a lot about what we're thinking about and how we're building the product and what we're thinking about towards the future. So I always like to kind of start out just showing, as he said, force.com. You can see right on there, we're on the force.com platform utilizing the Salesforce engine. This is I'm on a dashboard instead. I meant to be on my home screen.
All right. That's good. We're going to show you how you navigate through the system. It was good.
This is real time.
Yeah, real time live demo
with a dashboard there. Like, why does this not look right? So this is my home screen. This is up on top. You've got your navigation bar. The most important things in Salesforce world, these are called objects. And so we really rally around the three main objects, which are accounts, contacts, projects. Accounts are companies. You can classify them by whatever their relationship is to you. But if it's a company, it's an account and it's got an account record. Contacts are just people. And projects, project is everything from a lead all the way up to a one project, a contracted project. We're tracking the whole pursuit life cycle. We're also tracking work in progress up to project completion. And so it's really everything that comes under that project heading. We've got different record types to accommodate that. And projects is really the key to the system. And the biggest difference that you see between us, honestly, and other systems is how we rally around the project. The home screen here, you've got your calendar events, Outlook, Gmail, bidirectional, all the goodies as far as your calendar sync. TrebleHook accommodates that. You've got your tasks in various groupings on these tasks. As you can see here, I can pull up my tasks or overdue tasks or recently completed tasks or ones that I've assigned to other people. So you've got your events, your tasks. You've got various things on the right side that you can look at as far as recent records that you've pulled, et cetera. And then you've got the dashboard that you can open up. You've got the reports that you have. We've broken it down. I'm going to kind of end up here, Chris. I think we're going to really just show you projects, and then we'll end up with reports and dashboards and talk a little bit about that.
I think just one thing I was thinking about is that we talk about, and it's hard when you do a demo because you don't really understand what the client is really looking to see. But I think one of the beautiful things about the Force.com engine, right, and the TrebleHook product is the configurability, right? And a lot of CRMs that you have out there in the industry are limited on the ability to configure. So what we've built is what we have seen as best practices in AEC across many, many years of experience and all of our customers, and have built that into the product. But what's really cool about the product is once you get live and you start using it and you want to change and augment the product to fit your needs, that's where the power comes in. So, hey, I want to add a visualization here. Can I pull in a LinkedIn feed or a news feed off to the side? Can I move my things around in the project layout? Hey, I want to kind of consolidate this area and do this. Can I add a few fields here? We want to start classifying information there. That's kind of the neat thing, right? And, in implementation, we obviously don't want to go through a full customization because we believe our product out of the gate has solved 80 to 90% of the pain point, but we use that last 10% to make it fit for your business. And really one of the things that we want to, at the end for us as a company and for you as a business, you have to invest in a system your team's going to use. You have to drive utilization and adoption. If the system's not being used, you're not getting any value. You're not getting your return on investment. And so the more that you can augment a system for your individual company and what you do every day, the better your chances are utilization. So I think as we're kind of going through today, what's cool about this is you're seeing some best practices delivered, but you also understand the massive configurability that you have in the system.
Yeah, it's a constant balancing act between the amount of things that you can do and simplifying things.
That's right.
Particularly when you start. So, and to drive standardization and kind of compliance so that everybody's doing the same thing the same way at the same time is the way I was kind of phrase it. But one of the examples of this is, you get a new lead for a project. And so here's an example. We go through every new customer implementation with kind of a field evaluation. It's like, here's the fields that we have available. We've got pick lists. You've got these things and we can kind of go from there. But what we want to do is we want to have certain things that are mandated. So in this case, you can see that there's a required field. The only thing that we have required for a new lead coming in is a project name. So there are other things that you can fill in. We've got 8 different boxes here. So you might want to fill in the industry. You might want to fill in, this is a repeat customer. So it's really an opportunity. I'll bring it in at a later stage. It's something that I'm actively working. I met with somebody. So you can go through here and you're putting a new lead, a new project. You're getting it started in the system. The one of the really cool things that we have is the ability. I always think of it like 3 sides of a triangle, right? You've got contacts, accounts, projects. You want to have all 3 sides because and they're all connected. And so as you're putting in this new lead or starting this new project, you can also create a new account. If they're in there, you just select the account and you attach the account to the project. But if they're not in there, you just go ahead and create a new one. And it's really easy. You go through, this is also during our implementation, we go through what, do you want to hide certain fields or add fields and et cetera. But this is where we can say, hey, it's a client and they're in the, they're an architect. So we can go through and I'm not going to go through and fill in all these fields. Again, this is something that's customizable, but the same thing holds true with your contacts. So if they're in the system, you select them. If you want to create a new one, they're not in TrebleHook yet, you can do that on the fly. You're going to fill in some information. You're going to set some standards out of the gate. Here's our required fields: first name, last name, phone number, email, whatever. And then if you want to add them to some lists here, we've got different marketing lists, newsletter, press release campaigns, things that you might want contacts associated with. Are they key contacts, things like that. So that's really it. You're set putting in a new lead, a new project. You're associating it with a company. You're associating it with a primary contact, and it's really just that easy. And that way, when you get them all entered in, and you get them all entered in at once, that way, even if you're looking back 3 years from now, it's like, I don't remember the name of the project, but or the person I dealt with, but I remember the company. Well, you can find the other two.
And it was cool. I remember back to the kind of the early days of TrebleHook, and we show this of creating a project record and creating a new account and creating a new contact all on the same screen.
Yeah.
And then starting that, and like people's like mouths dropped, like, oh my gosh, you can do that. And I was like, yep, we can do that. So it was funny. Like you think something that's so common and so easy, because I know other systems, it's like, all right, well, I've got to navigate away and go create an account over here. And then I need to go add a contact, and then I can go back to the project record and create it. So I think one of the things that we've done in our system is to look for ways to streamline the process. And these are some of the things that we're able to do by leveraging that world-class engine. So
yeah, speed is key. The speed is key. The faster you can move through the people through the system, the more apt they're going to want to use it. The faster they can find things, the faster they can create things, the ways you can automate things.
And I think, it's one thing we didn't talk about in our rehearsal, but one of the things that we should mention to the team, obviously in AEC, high levels of mobility. Like we got business developers are in the field, marketers might be here, project managers and executives. I mean, we're traveling, like we're out on project sites, et cetera. And so what's really cool is pretty much 99.9% of the functionality that you see today is completely mobile on Android, on Apple, phone, iPad, computer, anywhere in the world. So the neat thing is, I know some competitors and other features, they're like, well, we have limited mobile functionality. Nope. Pretty much 100% of what you see, you can do from any device, anywhere in the world.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, number one, they may have built their own mobile app. So there's a big difference between a company who's going out and building their own mobile app, or they're building their own email connector or not. There's a big difference between that and using world class technology that already exists. So, yeah. And I meant to say this at first. I always kind of break down, CRM. CRM means something different to different people. You ask 3 different people, what's the most important thing you're looking for? And it really breaks down to, the database itself. So accounts, contacts, projects, the ability to look things up. Then you've got your activity management. So things that we can do around that. I mean, any CRM is going to handle that basic functionality of, hey, who did I talk to? When did I talk to them? What did we talk about? What are our next steps? And then the third piece is really around the data and the analytics. And so it's really those 3 things. And depending on who you're talking to, they're interested in one of the 3 or 2 of the 3 or all 3 of the 3, or they've got an emphasis over here or over there. The beauty of this system is it's set up to accommodate all of that. You don't have to be like, yeah, I really want this, but are you as good at that, or is you as good at this? Or the system is built to be world class in any real area of what would kind of fall under the CRM umbrella.
Well, it was funny when we were kind of starting out. When you're starting any company, you got to kind of define your identity and how you're going to go to market, and CRM, customer relationship management. I mean, customers are a vital part of any of our businesses in AEC, but really in AEC, it's all about the project. And that, the project is the center point by which everything is connected, and accounts and contacts and people and customers come in there. And so we're like, man, should we start a new category? Like, is PRM a thing? Project relationship management. But unfortunately, all of you all still search for CRM
when marketing guy said
when you're looking for solutions. And so we stuck with CRM, but maybe there'll be a new category this year that we start.
All right. So, but I'm going to hop right over to a project that's got a little more to it here.
And John, if I can interrupt just for a second. So what you just did, and you'll notice as we're kind of poking around the system, there's some really quick things. This is one of my favorite tools. This is called the favorites bar. So any report, any customer, any project that you go to a lot. So like for me, there's a lot of reports and dashboards that I look at all the time. You simply favorite them, and then you have your favorites list. So, if there's strategic customers you do a lot of work with, if there's specific contacts you interact with, or major projects that you're pursuing, simply favoriting them, and then be able to quickly navigate back and forth. So John just went to a favorite project of his. And so anyway, I just want to point that out as we're talking about some features.
Yeah. And when you're searching for something, it'll bring up your most recent searches, and with reports, it's going to, pull up recent records. There's all kinds of little shortcuts that are built in that you don't even think about, but they're there and you use them.
Yep. Yeah. It's backed by Einstein is what Einstein is what we have, and
cleverly named.
Apparently, maybe in the future it's going to be called Musk. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's Einstein is the smart AI. Maybe now it's going to be Musk.
I did not know this, Chris. Rebranding. So you're looking at a project record, and we have two types of projects. You've got pursuit records, that's work that you're chasing, and we've got contracted projects, work that you've won. As we look at the project itself, when you think about it, in the project lifecycle, the way that we've built the product is to reflect the way that our customers think. And the way that our customers think, you can see this bar across the top: lead, opportunity, proposal, award, contract, submit for startup, won and lost. That's really when you think about the way the projects move through the system and through your project lifecycle. It's a lead could be a business card, a repeat client. You met them at a conference, whatever. You just want to get it. You may only know a person's name. You just want to get it into the system and track it. An opportunity is when you've got more details around it. It's more real. You've got the project attributes. You know the people, players. You have some additional information. And now it's real. You're going to pursue it. You're going to dedicate some time and energy.
It's usually like you'd call it qualified. A lead might be something that like you're going to put 20 things in there, but you might need to go through a go, no go to see if it's even something you want to pursue. So typically when you move into the opportunity stage, it's something that your firm or your team has like chosen to pursue. They're like, yep, that's something that we want to go after.
Yep, exactly. And then at a certain point, you're going to have to get something into the hands of the customer. I look at the proposal stage as kind of an active deliverable. It's active RFP, RFQ, qual packages need to be sent out. Interviews are being done. There's all kinds of things at this sort of stage where you've got to deliver something to the prospective customer. And then once that they have what they need, you enter the negotiation phase here, which we call award contract. And then when you ultimately win the project, you need to submit that project up for startup in Procore, Autodesk, a financial system, what have you. Of course, you can skip stages. You can lose a project for any reason, including never materialized, decided not to pursue any reason at all. But I'm going to walk you through that. And I think really, Chris, the best way of doing that is to show the life cycle of the project and how we move them through the system. First, though, I want to give you just a visual, like what are we looking at? This is the first time most of you have seen TrebleHook. So we're going to give you on the project. So this is a project record. This is a pursuit record. We put the project summary up top here for you. So that's your quick view. What do I want to know at a glance? Since this is a new lead, we've got some pieces of information in here, but we don't have all of them. We've got the ability to kind of segment out key information. So key dates, we used to have dates. Honestly, when I started, we had dates kind of all over the page. And we realized people wanted to see a grouping of dates and not see them everywhere and have to kind of hunt and peck all over the page. Like, where's that estimated start date again? So putting key dates in together, as well as like financials, project team, the ability to see individuals as well as companies that are on the project and your own internal folks. If you're at a certain level and you want to track projects and update resumes and things like that, we can accommodate all of that. Any kind of documents and files, as well as digital assets. We're kind of a digital asset management light. We're not OpenAsset, but the good news is we have an integration with OpenAsset. Yep. So the ability we're always keeping our eye out. Hey, what are our customers using that are industry specific and other tools that we can maybe integrate with and add some additional value. OpenAsset, you can see here, Ignite are a couple of different systems that we've identified. So we have an integration with those systems here as well. And you can see, I won't dive into each of them. And this is kind of like our mid-level package that I'm showing you here. We've got a scaled down version for customers who are new, coming off spreadsheets, just looking to get started, something simple. You don't need all of this stuff. But for those who are kind of like next level 2, tracking things like project descriptions for resumes and schedules, and we can do Gantt style schedules in the system, proposals and pricing, project teams, tracking competition, the whole, there's a lot of different details around the project that we can capture.
Yep. And there's a lot of innovation that we've got coming out of this. So, in the second quarter of this year, we've got some foundational tools coming out around schedules and proposals. But you think about tracking, your original, SD budget into, a bid, into a value engineering, into contract, and the progression of that and how you price and, the various schedules around how projects are moving, whether it's one that's in pursuit or, you're integrating maybe a Procore schedule that you're bringing bringing in. And so we're doing a lot of work around how to centralize and optimize that information. There's some really cool stuff coming out with project teams and dates here in the next couple of months. So yeah, a lot of innovation. I think you hit the nail on the head, John, is that, some customers, and again, no matter where you are in your CRM journey, some people are like, oh my God, this is way too much. This is way too heavy. Like, no problem. We got a starter version that's really just accounts, contacts, projects, get you out of spreadsheets. If you really want to track information, you're migrating off of another system, rock and roll. You've got that. If you want to integrate with your ERP system, Deltek or, Ajera product, Procore, great. There's an opportunity to do there. And then also maybe hit on the activity pane down below and just.
Yeah, you can. So as you can see here, the activities have their own icon associated with them for whether it's a phone call, a task that's been completed or activity, a meeting or event or emails. So all of those, whichever record you're on. So you're on a project record now, you're going to see all the activities and what type of activity they are related to this particular project. If you're on a contact record, you're going to see all the activities with that person. If you're on a company record, an account record, you're going to see all the activities with that account. So all organized, always on the right-hand side. You can kind of segment it out. You've got if I wanted to see just the emails here, I could go and select just the emails, or all kinds of cool stuff that you can do. Just see where you're at.
Yeah. And I think what's cool about this activity pane is our companies, your companies, AEC firms are not one person shows. Like, you don't ever go up and it's like, oh, I'm just a single general contractor and I have nobody else in the business, or a single person architect. Oftentimes you've got, business development and there's marketing, and you might have different office locations or different divisions, pre-construction and construction. And so we have all these different parts of our businesses that might be touching the same account, the same contact, or the same project. And so what's neat about this is it's like, I can pull up any account. I can say, oh, hey, John just met with this account last week. I see that. Oh, they have a bid coming up. Great. I've got that. Hey, I'm going to go have lunch with XYZ. And so it's a really neat way for the left hand to know what the right hand is doing at a very global sense.
Yeah. And it's two things. It's cross-selling opportunities, one division or different products or different services. I mean, a lot of companies are pretty complex in their business. There's some overlap. Hey, we're selling them this, but we could also be selling them some other products or services or what have you. So there's kind of a additional business opportunity there. There's also the don't screw it up thing where, hey, John just met with these guys last week. Chris may have had no idea about it. He walks in there and looks like an idiot because he couldn't see. Well, this kind of eliminates the bumping into each other and that sort of thing, as well as helping with, hey, what's the general activity with this person, with this company, with this project?
And I think that, one of the biggest pain points in any CRM is just getting data into the system. And, we'll talk about the life cycle here in a second, but the beautiful thing about integrating with things like the G Suite, like Gmail or Outlook, is there's automatically capturing information in the system. So, automatically capturing meetings and putting that with the associated account and contact, automatically capturing a task that's been generated and seeing that inside of Outlook. And then, at a later date, we'll show you some of the integrations, but everything you're seeing today, you can also do that 100% from our Outlook side pane, right? So, looking up accounts, creating new projects, looking at visualizations right inside of Outlook. So, that's one of the things. Is like, if I have to go in and log everything that I do, it's a real big pain. But if there's technology that can help me automate that, all of a sudden that information's getting in there without me having to go in. And that's how you start adding rocket fuel to things like this.
Absolutely. Yep. So I'm going to jump right into what I think is the coolest thing, the most fun really that we've implemented here is what we call our update stage button. So we've talked about the project life cycle, the way that we view things from lead to win here in the pursuit record. So what we're going to give you is like how we would move projects through the system. You're a user in the system. You want to progress from a lead. Now, as Chris said, we get 20 leads. We decide, maybe we're going to pursue 3 of them. Those are your legitimate opportunities. So what we're going to say is, with each new customer, we're going to go through, not everybody's going to have the same fields that they're going to want required. So this is a hypothetical example. But in this example, what we're saying is, hey, when we move from lead to an opportunity, we want to mandate that and I'm just going to randomly kind of click these in for speed purposes here. But we're going to mandate all of these various pieces of information. So we've got the client, the office location, the project name, the division, the primary contact. We've got a estimated start date, and we've got a project amount. Now, if I were to not fill in one of those, it would flag it and not let me save it. But being that I know what I'm doing, I got all of the fields in there and updated it. So what you can see, but when we started, when we had this kind of 30,000 foot view, all of these fields were empty because at the lead stage, we just didn't know these pieces of information. The assumption is, as we're going through and now it's an opportunity we're working, we've now learned these pieces of information, and everybody, whether they've been in the system for 3 years or 3 days, knows that now I'm going to have to fill in these pieces of information, and the system guides them through it.
Yeah. And I will tell you, just from experience, inside of our company, inside of other organizations, this is the backbone of successfully integrating a CRM or any system. You have to, there's 3, we did a webinar last year, go back and watch it, around driving utilization and adoption. But we talk about kind of 3 legs of that. 1 is giving users something intuitive and easy to use that helps them do their job. 2 is empowering leadership to leverage a system to make decisions in their business. And 3 is driving critical processes through the system that can't be circumvented.
Right.
So we know as we're progressing projects, we have to gather the appropriate information. If we leave it to our users, as awesome as they are, there's going to be inconsistency in the amount of information I gather. And what's really critical about this, and will make sense, is if I'm trying to see analytics about my business, if I want to really go back and understand what's happening today or what's happened in the past, I have to get good data out of the system. Well, how do you get good data? You make sure that the critical information is put in at the critical stage on a particular project. And so, some companies require more and less at each individual stage. Some people have different stages, which is A-okay. It's part of our implementation, but this is the backbone.
Yep.
And it also saves, you think about one of the things that's really challenging, especially as your company grows, you start wanting to track more and more stuff. Marketing has their stuff, pre-con has their stuff, business development has their stuff. You end up with hundreds and hundreds of fields. Well, if I've got to go, to your quote, John, hunt and peck through the system to find all the required fields, it's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah, and you're going to miss stuff.
Miss stuff, right? And so that's why we tried to just make it as simple as possible to say, look, if we're progressing projects, this is the critical stuff that you have. There's all sorts of other information down below that you can add on to enhance the data. But really for us, we got to get this information to progress through the project.
Yeah, you can have fields for days. Our goal is to shorten this up as much as possible. We don't want to have a page that has 100 fields and only 10 of them being used.
That's right.
We need to right size that. But, you can even see in a connected system, we've got an integration section. So this is data that we want to push to another system. So all kinds of really cool stuff that we can do. Just to kind of finish out the thought as far as the updating stages. So you're going to go through all of your stages from here. You get to a submit for startup stage. This is one that we wanted to put a little pause on, because this is something we didn't realize when we rolled out this submit for startup stage, what the implications of that really meant from a workflow standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the required information to move projects, but the reality is when a pursuit team, right, a small company with a seller doer, or a large company where, pre-con and marketing are winning the job. When we win a job in an AEC firm, there's some process, and all of you on the call have some process that you alert and let your operations, accounting, and contracts people know, number one, that I won the job, and hey, I need to get this set up in my system. So some of you might have emails that you send. Some of you might have forms that you fill out. Some of y'all might just go pick up the phone and holler at your accounting and say, hey, set this project up for XYZ contractor. All you all have a startup process. And every time I ask companies about their startup process, I get like these funny smiles and smirks and laughs, because they know it's wildly inefficient. Well, if we're tracking projects through our system and we're mandating the information as we progress projects through there, once we're ready to win the job, we already have all the data.
Right.
So all we do in the submit for startup process is ask a few more critical questions that your contracts department needs in order to set the project up in the system. So it's eliminating those Excel spreadsheets, those forms, those emails. And what's really cool about the submit for startup process, it can be as simple as, hey, it just takes this information, it fires an email or a notification off to your operations or accounting person, and they now go manually enter that information into, Deltek or whatever you use, right? But what's really neat about this process, especially if you're a little bit more progressive on the maturity of a CRM implementation, is if you integrate this in with tools like Procore or others, you can actually automate this information to go back to go start up a project in another system. So what would that look like? Well, I start up a project, I automatically create an Ignite or SharePoint or Teams file folder structure for that project. I automatically create a project inside of Procore, and I push all the data that I've already got in the system over into a receiving system. And so that's where the power of this really starts up. We're trying to find ways to deduplicate work that's going on in your business. So how can we take information we have and just pass it off to the appropriate people, as opposed to having to do something brand new? And what's neat is in that integrated stage is once those two systems are connected, anything that you do in that other system is now being ingested into TrebleHook, and we can start using that for analytics and business development and marketing. So the submit for startup process was something, as we were going through the project lifecycle discovery with our customers, we just kept hitting on this submit for startup component. And this is another great opportunity for us to drive utilization and adoption. If TrebleHook or our system is the way by which you submit information to your accounting team, well, then it means people have to use the system.
Right.
They have to get information into the system. So now you start getting consistent utilization and adoption across your firm as it relates to starting up a process. So this has been a great tool from our customers. We typically work with each of you all or our customers to find out what do your contracts or accounting team need. If you need to create a job number earlier in the process, we've got some cool workflows to create job numbers early on, but really kind of critical way to make sure you get people using the system.
Yeah. Reducing multiple data entry points is huge. That's one that we hear all the time. What are your goals? We want to cut down on the amount of times that we're entering the same thing in over 7 different.
Hey, we're all busy, man. We got to get.
That's right. So I think the last thing really, and then I'm going to exit this page and hop on to reports and dashboards. Just the ability to create documents out of the system in general. That the submit for startup is a document that we're creating. We've got a document generation engine that we've embedded into TrebleHook. But you can create all kinds of documents. It doesn't have to be just submit for startup. It can be resumes, it can be proposals, it can be project recap sheets, that the documents in various forms, Word, InDesign coming, but Word, PDF, PowerPoint, all those documents we can generate right out of the system.
And I think that'd be some cool stuff. We'll probably end up doing, I think it's on our backlog webinar list to do a kind of a conversation around documents and where we're heading with documents and sending out proposals, getting e-signature, submitting that over to folks, leveraging into marketing and others. So some really cool workflows that are we have today, but are also kind of coming down the pike as it relates to documents.
Yep. So I'm just going to hop over now. So this is where I started. Actually.
This is where you started. Yeah. People have already seen this page.
So y'all know this page. I don't have to get into it. So what you're looking at here is an example of a dashboard, right? We can do different colors, different visualizations, different whatever. But we've put together what we call the top KPIs dashboard here. This is out of the box, ready to go. And we like to look at what we call leading indicators and lagging indicators. And the reason it's important to know what's in front of you, what the future holds. Look at, hey, how are we trending? Also, there's a lot of insights that can be gained from, hey, what did we do in the past? Where are we winning? Where are we losing? Where are we successful? Where are we unsuccessful? All those kind of things. So as you're going through leading indicators, your pipeline and your weighted forecast, and simple, break it down over a certain number of months and average project or I should say, as far as revenue projections over certain months, we can get, fairly complicated when we're doing revenue projections. But your pipeline, your weighted forecast, your forecast amounts, your projects that you have coming up over the next X amount of days, or by delivery methods and stage, that's all things that are in front of you. And it gives you a good idea like, hey, how is business going to look over the next 12, 18, 24, however many months. And then as you go down through the bottom half here in the lagging indicators, this is what you've done in the past. So you're looking at key things like, hey, where are we winning? What's my win percentage? If I look at things by industry or geographical region or by sales rep or division or whatever, there's various ways we can break it down. Same thing with profitability by market, profitability by client. And then loss analysis. As important as it is to know where you're successful, it's equally important to know when you lose, what are some of the commonalities there, so that you can look at those in aggregate and kind of break it all down and say, hey, we're winning when we do these things. We're losing when we do these things. Let's do more of the things that encourage that behavior. And then let's work on some ways that we can try to adapt to some ways that we're losing.
Yeah. And I think the neat thing about just dashboards and reports, which we'll show you in a sec, is just you can slice and dice data any way that you want. I mean, visualizes, numbers, bar charts, graphs. You can change the look of this. You can have a dashboard for marketing, a dashboard for BD, a dashboard for your executive team. And there's a lot of cool functionality, subscribing to a dashboard. So for me, like I subscribe to dashboards. I tell it, hey, on Friday afternoon, I want to know this. On Monday morning, I want to know X, Y, Z. So lots of cool functionality that you can slice and dice. But one of the things that's important to understand in reporting and dashboarding, what's going to give you the value in reporting and dashboarding? You have to have the data in the system, right? So kind of going back to those mandatory fields and that's what drives this information. Right. If your users, if they can optionally fill out information, this information is no-go. So yeah, but just understand lots of ways to slice and dice data in the system.
And then these are visualizations on the dashboard. Driving each of these visualizations is the report underneath, and the report is made up of various records. So you've got the visual up top. You've got all the different records. This is your weighted forecast over X number of months. We've grouped it by stage and close date. We've got columns of the project name, and you can see them all. If you want to change this report, add to it, add different columns, look at different views. It's very, very easy to do. And it's also very easy to update. I mean, rather than going into individual records, I just clicked on this edit button here. You can do some updating right in the inline editing in the system. Various fields update on the fly, and just add and change and not have to dig into each report.
And this feature, you talk about like people that are coming out of Excel or super busy folks. You think about a business developer that business developer needs to go update, 20 projects all at one time, or a division manager needs to go update their forecast, or, a seller doer who's out there designing and working on projects need to update a report. Super Excel style format. You can certainly dive down into the individual records, but to be able to inline edit the information that you see that might be filtered out for yours is a great application.
Yep. And if you do want to dig into any of these individual records, if it's blue, you can click it. The way I describe TrebleHook is it works like a website. You can hop from one record to the other record to another record. They're all tied together. So here I am. I'm on this project record. I could do some inline editing as from the other screen. I can also get in and edit any of these fields here. I can also hop over. Here's the account record. So this is the client that this project is associated with. Now I see all the account information. I also see all the activities that are associated with that particular account. And then I've got a contact, all the contacts that works for that company. Same thing, same visualization. Now I've got activities related to that particular person. And we can see that her boss, it'll support the hierarchy. So you can really kind of get in and see a visual and laid out and get as granular or kind of wide view as you want.
Yep.
But I think that's a good place to end up. Chris, did you have any other kind of thoughts? Really, we wanted to just give you the overview, give you a look at the system.
Yeah.
Many of you haven't seen it before. what's our thinking? Why are we doing things? How does it help you?
Yeah.
That's really where we're focused.
No. And I think just, hopefully you kind of understand how the system works and a little bit of the way that we think and how you navigate through the system. There's tons of stuff we didn't show you, but just trying to keep it succinct today. So no, I thought that was a great, I hope it was helpful for you all. I did see some questions rolling in. So maybe we want to use the last maybe 5 or 10 minutes to answer those questions. So our DJ Mackenzie over here on the side, and we'll repeat questions. We'll throw some stuff our way. Yeah. Yeah. So the
3-part question,
the 3-pronged approach to project questions. No. So the question was really around integrations. How do integrations work? And there were some questions on
who do we integrate?
Who do we integrate with?
And cost more, and
right.
How do we do it?
Yep. 100%. So the short answer is we have 3 license types that we deploy. 3 main license types. Starter is, think about that. I'm coming off Excel. I want to track accounts, contacts, and projects. So it's a lighter version of what you saw today. That's our starter license type. The second license type is professional. Professional is really what you all saw today. You're getting all the features and functionalities. You're getting document creation and all the adjacencies. In starter and professional, the only integrations that we're providing are going to be tools like integrating into your Outlook, right? So Outlook integration, Gmail integration, actually some of the OpenAsset and Ignite integrations can be a part of those solutions. But when you want to integrate with either a project management or an ERP system, you need to step up to enterprise. And enterprise then really adds our data connector where we're mapping back and forth. And we see our job, and it's just, philosophically how we're trying to build the business. You all are busy doing what it is that you do best. You're architects and engineers and subcontractors and contractors and developers or whatever it is that you do, right? Your job is to go do that for your business. You don't need to be managing technology. We view our job as the kind of the technical leaders that can come in and shepherd you through this process. So just, I look at our team as being somebody that's going to guide you through the implementation, what metrics to track, how to set the system up, how to get this rolling, what value you're going to get. So that's how I view our role. So as it relates to integration, that's the same thing. So we shepherd you through that integration process. I'll tell you just from experience, the receiving system. So I guess I'll name names. So a really good example, some of our integration partners like Procore. Procore is extremely open, very easy to work with. In our case, you don't need to call your Procore partner or Procore at all. We jump in, we integrate the two together, open API, we get the information back and forth. We handle all of the load, and then we deploy the system. There's other ERP systems probably that have been in the market for a while that are not as open. And so those can sometimes be a little bit more challenging, but, we're all the, Deltek products, the Procores of the world, our sister company is an Autodesk partner. So we've got some great partnerships with Autodesk. File storage is a big one. So both Ignite and the SharePoint ones are ones that we talk a lot about. The digital asset management, obviously OpenAsset is a partnership that we work on. And there's kind of a slew of other solutions, some resource planning tools and such that we talk about. So, but I think the short answer to your question is, in order to integrate with kind of an ERP project management, that core project data that typically requires our enterprise license, and then we handle the bulk of, if not all of the integration work to get you set up and operationalized there. So yeah, great question. Thank you.
And Salesforce has what they call the App Exchange that has, thousands of apps in it too. Yep. So some are super easy and some require a lot of effort on our part. It really varies a lot. As Chris says, the more enterprise ones, what we consider enterprise is the major ERP or project management integration. There are thousands of other ones. You want to connect HubSpot on the front end, or MailChimp, or Constant Contact, or one of those. It's a much lighter lift, and it's not like a true kind of enterprise implementation.
Yeah, and one quick thing I'll just say about integrations and just technology adoption is that the ultimate goal, and we believe everyone's after this one single piece of software that's going to run.
Yeah.
It's going to run your business. We believe that each team in your company is going to have the best software, the best technology for their company, and then those things need to integrate. So the future state for any of you all that are looking at a CRM solution, the future state is you want to be able to integrate and have one single source of truth and arm your business development team with what's happening out in the field and arm your accounting team with what's happening in marketing and so on and so forth. But it's a journey, right? And so, the great thing about, I would say our solution or anything is you might be on Excel today, right? And leveraging QuickBooks in your business, but you might not be doing that a year or 2 years from now. So you hop onto Starter. Great. We're going to get off of Excel. We're going to start leveraging Starter, and then we're going to move to professional. Cool. Rock and roll. Step up to professional, start getting some more features. Hey, next year we're ready to integrate with QuickBooks. Okay, cool. Let's step up to enterprise and start integrating with QuickBooks. So I think that's a really nice mentality is, where am I today and where am I going? And to know that you can always move up and actually down the stack as your business ebbs and flows.
Yes, there's always a path. Nobody likes changing out systems.
Yeah. All right. Mackenzie, DJ,
what else we got?
Yeah. So the question is, can you move your existing Salesforce contacts into TrebleHook? And the short answer is absolutely. Salesforce is an amazing partner of ours, but they're also one of the personas that we see. We see people that are on a current Salesforce platform struggling with utilization and adoption. We can certainly come in and provide consulting services, but most times it's in their best interest to just migrate over to TrebleHook, and that migration process is very, very simple. So we take, a lot of the learnings that you have from Salesforce, take your Salesforce data and bring that in. Similarly, I won't name other competitors, but there's other competitors in the market. We can easily extract data out. One of the parts of our implementation is actually to bring in your legacy data. So if you have data from your old CRM system, from something like Salesforce or an Excel spreadsheet, we'll actually shepherd you through the process of bringing that data into TrebleHook so that you've got everything centralized on day one.
Yeah. Okay. I think the question was just about contacts, but also accounts and projects. And, just pulling in contacts is really the easiest thing to do. But pulling in contacts, accounts, projects, and make sure that they're all married to each other in the system, like I showed you, that's the part where we might have to use a little elbow grease.
Yeah. So the question is on, you can pick and choose the fields that we have, but if there's a field that we don't have and you want to add to the system, rock and roll. Like that's a super easy thing to do. So we've worked with some folks that are in very niche businesses and they're like, hey, I see all your stuff, but we have the need to track these 3 or 4 items. Can we add those things? Absolutely. That's part of the implementation is like, hey, here's all the stuff that we have. Let's figure out what we need. And if it's going to be mandatory, let's update pick list values. If we call it division and you call it business unit, great. Change it to business unit. We need to add a couple fields for things that we need to track. Super easy to do that. So yeah, super malleable, able to hide, add, change, whatever you want. Yeah. So the question is on the proposal workflow. So what we hit at a very high level today, but we actually have a proposal object, as we call it, where you can actually build out pricing. So simple pricing, hey, $1 per square foot, whatever, $1 per acre, up to more advanced pricing of, doing actually quantity takeoff and saying, hey, I've got, 100 of these at this price gives you X dollars. So you can actually build pricing inside of the system, whether it be very high level or very detailed. It's not meant to replace like a general contractor's estimating tool, like Destiny Estimating or others, where you're going to have 1,000 line item estimate. Right. We might get there at some point. Today, that's not the tool. The idea is, can I recreate and track the pricing in the system? And then if I have the pricing in the system, can I go ahead and create a document or a proposal that I can send out to my folks? Absolutely. And what we see typically in AEC is 2 types of proposals. Everybody calls it something different. So you're going to hear our language, the short form proposal, the letter form proposal. It's a, hey, dear John, this is what we're going to do. These are the phases, love to work with you, attach T's and C's. Perfect. Put the information in, create the document, send it out directly out of the system. And then there's more formalized proposal work that you're doing in things like InDesign, right? And hey, we need some of the project data and resumes, but we're going to actually build this really nice looking proposal in InDesign. So the short answer is we support all the workflows. And there's some really neat things that are coming down the pike with us as it relates to pricing and actually building pricing in the system. So but good question.
All right.
Cool.
Wow. Did we time this? It's almost like we planned it. We
15 seconds left.
I think the clock's a couple of seconds off. This has been great. Glad to have the opportunity to show everybody at a high level what TrebleHook can do, what we're all about. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informational. And I'd love to talk to you if anybody's interested in a follow-up. I will be happy to give you a more in-depth tour.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.